Miss Erica, you want to come up here and share with us? Now, as I mentioned yesterday, Erica and Dwayne have really done some amazing things in this past year with this new company they started, this martial arts success team. And I've been tracking some of the clients that they have and the things they have been able to do with them. And once again, as we kind of touched base yesterday with Dwayne, their idea, their new way of looking at this summer camp after school market is something that we haven't really had in our industry yet. And that's one of the reasons they're having such success at such a fast level. I haven't seen anybody else hit these numbers that hasn't been at this for years and years and years, and they're pulling some of these people right out of the gate. So these new guys come in and show us old guys what to do. Miss Erica Martin, it's all yours.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Good morning. So I'm just going to take a moment to kind of get set up to preface what I will be teaching you guys today. So while I do that, let's get some energy going, because I know some of you had a few cervezas yesterday, and I really want to make sure that you can pay attention. So here's how we do it at my school, is we clap it out. Slow clap first, and then we build it up. Ready? Go. Clap. Come on. Come on.
I ain't clapping shit.
Ready, and awesome. Great job. All right. So our culture at Martial Arts Success Team is one of constantly learning, growing, improving, and of course sharing, which is why we're here today, and we're really excited, and I'm really excited to share with you. So in the spirit of that culture, I completely revamped my entire talk that I was going to give to you guys on the plane, because I read this really awesome book, and I thought that it would be really relevant to why you guys are here today. I think Dwayne did an awesome job yesterday of really explaining to you, this thing's gonna fly off, really explaining to you the marketing strategies and the details and the why. Why is the after-school summer camp model so important? How does it save businesses that are martial arts school owners? So what I'd like to go into today is how you can walk away from this event and actually implement these things. Because I don't know about you, let's be honest, how many of you have attended seminars, event, live training, you're super pumped, you're like, yeah, I got it going on, I'm gonna go home and crush it, and you go home and you get lifed. Life just freaking lifes you, nothing happens. Who's had that experience? Oh, some of you guys are lying to me right now. So what I'd like to do today is share with you the 4 stages and the 4 steps to adult behavior change. And I got this from a book that I read called Triggers on the way over here. So what Melody Schumann said yesterday about you reading the book and then you closing it and thinking about it, something about this particular topic really spoke to me, because I knew that we'd all be coming here today. And I knew that you guys would be getting a plethora of information and then going home and going, oh my God, now what do I do? So I want to just bring awareness, because here's the thing. When you have a student, whether it's a fitness kickboxing student who's overweight and says, you know, I really want to get in shape. I really want to, this is what I want to do. Or you have a parent that's bringing their child and they know that there are certain things that they have to do to cause change in their child, and they're motivated and they're excited. So why don't they follow through? Why don't you follow through? Why don't I follow through? And that's the 4 stages that we're going to go through, because here's what happens. When the follow through doesn't happen, if we don't understand the why, we get frustrated. And we look at it as a character flaw on others and on ourselves. So what I'd like to do is bring awareness to you guys of what you can do to create what's called a feedback loop in your life. So the principle I'm going to introduce to you is an acronym that you should be able to easily remember, because it's the Erica principle. So step 1. Step 1 is evidence. Okay? I'm going to just briefly go in step 1 and step 2, but I really want to go deep into step 3 and step 4. So E, evidence. What's the evidence? That's that you know something needs to change. So let's talk about martial arts schools that don't have after school or summer camp. but they're watching this on a live stream. You're sitting here. All of you are here for a reason because there's evidence that something needs to change or you want to improve something. It could be you're not making as much money as you want to. Your profit margins are too low. You're stressed. You're overworked. You don't have staff. There's evidence that shows up in your life that says, I want to seek something different. I need to continue to learn and grow. So we all have those things. Step 2 is relevance. So it's like, I've seen what it is. Now what does that mean to me? Why is this relevant to me? So 2, relevance. Okay, so relevance. Relevance is, I need to make more money. What is that? I'm broke. Broke is not fun. Broke is painful. Stress is not good. It's not healthy. I want to be healthy. I have to be a team leader. That's the relevant side. So here's the thing. Most school owners live in this top part of the feedback loop. Yeah, I know I need to change. I know I need to change. I'm motivated. I'm here. I'm learning. But they stop here because they don't understand the full cycle of the feedback loop. The next stage is what I'd really like to dive deep on, and that is the consequence. So 3 is consequence. Okay, so consequences. What are the consequences for school owners who are struggling and they know that something needs to change, but they don't change? They go out of business. They continue to be broke and stressed. They have damaged relationships in their life. They're not in integrity with their students. They can't teach good classes because they don't have the mojo to do it, because they're stuck up here. I know I have to change, I'm not changing. And it degrades their level of confidence and the way with which they can talk and inspire people in their businesses. So I think what doesn't get spoken about a lot is the consequence. I think a lot of times at things like this, we all want to be like, yeah, this is so positive, this is so awesome, we're going to go home and do all this stuff, and it's really rah-rah. But where the rubber hits the road is when you understand the consequence if you do not take action. That's where the rubber hits the road. When it's right in front of your face and you go, well, yeah, I'm here to learn, but what happens if I don't implement? What cost is that to me? What cost is that to my community? What cost is that to my personal relationships? And when you focus on that, because we're all inspiring people here, that's why we're martial arts school owners. That's why we're teachers, is we thrive on the motivation. We thrive on that side. But sometimes, just like Bruce Lee said, I'm going to misquote him, so forgive me, but about the music, you have to have the highs and the lows. You have to understand the low in order to bring yourself back up to a high. Consequence. And then, did you guys all get that these 4 steps are the feedback loop, right? Okay, the last step is action. And we're going to dive into that just a little bit as well. Feedback loop. Okay, last step is action. Now, here's the thing with action. Most people don't get to that stage, or if they do, it's fleeting because they have an open feedback loop. So what's a closed feedback loop? What defines why we do everything in our lives that we do? What drives us? So think about it this way. A feedback loop could be, let's take the example of somebody that comes into Master Mel's school and goes, I really want to lose weight. I really want to make a positive change for my health. I understand that my doctor told me that I'm overweight and I'm sick. And then it's relevant because, well, I don't want to die. The consequence would be, I'm just going to keep getting sick. I'm not going to be able to play with my kids. I'm not going to have positive, healthy relationships because I'm not there. And then it's the action. That day that person decides, I am going to do something different. But here's the key about action. Action comes from 2 places, a positive and a negative. It comes from avoiding pain or seeking pleasure. It's any of those two. Think about any decision in your life that you make. It's either avoiding pain or seeking pleasure. So under action, write pleasure or pain. My notes are all closed up over here. Now, the key to action, of course, as we all know, is accountability. And accountability is what keeps us on track to taking action. Do you mind if I put that there? Okay. So the problem here with martial arts school owners is they want to live up here and live in the land of the positive. They want to live in the land of the motivating and inspiring and the good things, and this is what I'm going to do. But in order to make true behavioral change in any human being as a whole, you have to have a complete feedback loop. So what I would encourage you to consider is, what is the evidence that you're dealing with in your martial arts school right now? What's the pain? Why are you here? Why are you watching this live stream? What relevance is that to you? And then next to that, what's the consequence if you don't? Nobody wants to think about that because it's painful. But remember that your action is derived from either pain or pleasure. Your action is going to say, well, gosh, I really don't want to go out of business, so I have to put a structure in place that will help me take continuous, inspired action towards the goal that I have said that I'm committed to. That's why people come to our martial arts programs, right? That's why parents come to us for a committed effort for themselves or for their kids with a structured, proven format. Well, we have to do that as leaders ourselves as well. And then the action, of course, seeking pleasure. I want to make more money. I want to go on more vacations. I want more time off with my family. I don't want to be handcuffed to my business for the rest of my life. I don't want to be in the same place now 20 years from now. Or, of course, the pain, which is the downside. So I want to make a little comparison for people that we've worked with that have been able to close this feedback loop consistently. And here's the thing with the feedback loop, is it's not a one-shot deal. It's not you learn it today and you go, okay, I get what a feedback loop is and I'm good to go. This happens every second of every day in your life with every decision you make. If you want to turn right or you want to turn left. Well, if I turn right, I'm going to be stuck in traffic, which means I'm going to be late, so I should probably go ahead and turn right. Does that make sense? Okay, so I want to draw a comparison here. There are school owners in our industry that are outstanding anomalies. And most of them are here today with us that have done absolutely incredible feats. And let's talk specifically about the after-school summer camp model. For example, Master John Cassidy. He has become the premier in his community in Loudoun County. Now, Dwayne talked yesterday about the marketing to daycare industry versus marketing after-school martial arts, right? So I want to kind of do a little visual here that would make sense. If this circle, represents the whole of parents that need care for their kids, the parents who are searching specifically for martial arts after school and martial arts summer camp looks like this. Maybe. There we go. That's really terrible, but you get the point, right? It's less than 5% of parents that go online and search martial arts after school, martial arts summer camp. No, they go and they say, my kid goes to this school, what aftercare programs are available, right? So the people who have dominated this percent, like Master Cassidy, have spent 10 to 15 years, right? Building a reputation, building a franchise organization, becoming the martial arts after school expert. So anybody that searches for martial arts after school is going there, right? Now, the thing to consider is a lot of us don't have that much time to invest at this point in an after school or a summer camp model. 10 to 15 years is a long time. So the question becomes, as far as action is concerned, how do we quickly and easily smartly tap into this other 95%. And that's where we've seen success with our clients. Like we have one in Grand Prairie, Texas. I don't even know where that is. Her name is Dr. Judy. And Dr. Judy, for example, has had 15 after-school students for the past several years. That was her cap. She could never break 15 after-school students because for her, she was marketing martial arts after school. And as we all know, if you don't have a very specific structure in place for a very niche market, it is hard to become the best. It is hard to be that 1% of 1% that dominates this. So what did she do? When she changed her marketing message, she didn't change anything she did in her school. That's the awesome part. She still teaches martial arts. She still teaches martial arts in her after-school program. She added a couple other little dynamics, like what Dwayne talked about. You know, tumbling. Well, what's tumbling? A forward roll? A cartwheel? Oh, now we offer tumbling. Hooray! It's all about marketing. So when she marketed her program differently, she's been with us for less than a year at this point. She has 74 after-school students. From 15 for 4 years straight to 74. Remember when Dwayne was speaking yesterday, and he goes, hey, that's Craig. You guys remember that? And he got all distracted? Like, now what do I say? Craig Martell and his wife came on board with us, again, less than a year ago, in March or April of last year. And they had this rhetoric in their head of, you know, we're the small school. We only have 1,800 square feet. They had 34 evening students only. That was it. And I found out later that when they invested with us, they didn't know how they were even going to make their first payment to us. We found that out in an event after the fact, so good to know. But what they did is they followed the system so specifically that within 3 months of starting an after-school program for the very first time, going from 0 after-school students, never running an after-school program ever, they have grown from an 1,800 square foot facility to a 4,500 square foot facility that's beautiful. And it's built out custom in a way that builds trust for parents in this market. The daycare market is huge. Think about it. Have any of you guys had your kids in childcare? In daycare? I mean, it's expensive. Way more expensive than martial arts. But here's the thing is parents have a budget for that. They're planned for it. They've planned for it. So all we have to do is teach you guys how to be the best in this and build a facility or just modify your facility in a way that speaks to that market, modify your message in a way that speaks to that market. It's a no-brainer and it's recession-proof because if parents are working, they need it. So anyway, back to Jen and Craig. Grew into this larger facility. It's gorgeous. Went from 0 after-school students, no after-school program. They were the sole, teachers, martial arts instructors in their school, owner-operators, stressed out. They were paying out of pocket to keep their school open, to 64 after-school students, to an entire staff, to a full-time director who is a rock star, to pre-registering about, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe they said about like the equivalent of 300 weeks of summer camp at this point. And they had never ever done this before. But it's all because their message was in alignment with what people needed to hear in this market. All right, so yeah, the other thing that I wanted to point out, I mentioned to you guys that Dwayne and I are very intent with our martial arts success team group that we're always about growing, learning, and sharing. And Dwayne actually shared with you yesterday about one of the people who we spoke with recently. His name is Roger Arnold. He's the chief economist for ALM. He's a billionaire. And he has advised the Department of Defense and the sitting president. This guy knows his stuff. And this man said that currently we're in a recession, which is what Dwayne told you yesterday, and that there's more to come. So back to this whole consequence thing, we all experienced 2008. My after school and summer camp program was born out of necessity during that time because I'm in Florida. The economy crashed, the BP oil spill happened, everything that I did with success took a nosedive. And I worked 10 times harder. And let me tell you guys, I am a hustler. Yes, I worked 10 times harder for less than a third of the result. I had parents moving out of state because they couldn't afford to live here anymore. It was insane. But the summer camp and the after school is what saved us. And then, we all talk about the strong survive, Darwin's theory. Well, that's what allowed us to weather the storm, because it was consistent weekly revenue. It was a consistent business model. It wasn't about, I had a parent tell me that on Thanksgiving her oven broke, and her choice was to pay her martial arts tuition or to fix her oven. What am I going to say to that? But when parents are working, they need to put their kids somewhere, and they have a budget for it. So that child of that particular example was going to daycare. That child was going to daycare, not with me because I hadn't started my program yet. So the message on the consequence is, what if you don't? What if you don't? What do you stand to lose? How many lives could you have changed that you will not change? Because when the economy goes up and down and when people get scared, discretionary income gets pulled. But the necessities do not. And then down to the action, like we talked about, how are you going to hold yourself accountable to these changes? What structures are you going to put in place, whether it's from this talk, whether it's from any of the other speakers' talks? What structure is going to hold you accountable so that you don't realize these consequences? All right. Last but not least, we're missing one letter here in the acronym. What is it? I. This wasn't in the book. I just made this part up. So the I. The I is my favorite part of this because it stands for inspiration. Because it's my hope that from this talk today that you guys have the inspiration to be more aware of your feedback loops in your life and to be able to take a decisive, inspired action to put a structure in place to support your success. Because broken feedback loops, they erode our confidence, they erode our integrity, and they're all around. And if we can be aware of this particular cycle, then we don't get angry about it. We don't get frustrated with ourselves and with our students. We simply take inspired, which I'll write here, inspired action to do things differently and to say, okay, I didn't give myself enough support and accountability to take action. Now, what am I going to do about it? So, as a thank you to Mr. Randy Reed for being so awesome and putting on this whole event for us, which, I think has been great. Do you guys agree that this has been really awesome so far? Let's give Randy a hand. Can we stand up and give Randy a hand, please? Come on. I got two people. You can tell who really likes you, Randy. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, as a thank you to Randy for putting this event on, and as a thank you to all of you who are watching, and for those of you who are dedicated to taking inspired action, Dwayne and I want to give a gift to all of you. And what we're going to do is for anybody that fills out the form on our website or sends us an email to martialartsuccessteam@gmail.com and just puts Mexico or, you're awesome, whatever. We take compliments.
Cancel. I'll deal with that.
We are going to give you a free live training that was an 8-hour training that we did with our clients. We filmed it. It's called Summer Camp Profit Secrets. It was a 1-day full event, and we usually sell it for $500. We're giving it to you guys for free because I want to know that you are ready to have those structures in place. Everything that Dwayne touched on yesterday with the actual systems and structure and all of that was taught in that seminar. So it's a great way for you to kind of get started, to get your feet wet, to get your marketing message out, and we just want to say thank you. So I appreciate you having me, Randy. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.